kind of an open area that could travel.
So the direction you guys, at the house there by the golf club, the direction you guys think it came from will be looking back from their house back towards where the sod farm's at?
Correct. From her angle, yeah. She was standing in a position where her right side was towards Stewart. And of course, the sod is on the turf place is on Stewart there across the street. So it would have been coming from that direction. It would not have been coming from the north.
We've had folks contact us, Chief, just before we knew the circumstances here, that someone was shot in the township, not knowing if it was random or accidental, asking if they should be concerned for their own safety. So timing-wise, why are you talking about it now, 2 days after the fact?
Well, quite frankly, one reason is you guys keep calling me, right? So we'll certainly address it, but it gives me an opportunity to get the word out to our community about gun safety. And so, you know, I've been here 7.5 years and we've not had anything like this. You know, I've had calls. We certainly get calls on shots fired. Typically, those are new residents to our community and maybe came from an incorporated area, Kettering or Dayton, where that's not permitted, only to move out here and find out that it is permitted. So a little bit of a shock to some folks. But it gives me an opportunity, I guess, to put the word out that, you know, while it's allowed, gun safety is very important. You need to be, the individual that's shooting needs to be aware of what their backdrop is and what's even beyond that. You know, if there's a structure, even if it's a quarter of a mile, half a mile away, in the direction that they're shooting, they should really not be shooting that direction, because the rounds, if you miss the backdrop, that round is going to travel.
And just to be clear, why you guys would like to find whoever did this or was shooting and this happened, you'd like to talk to them. At this point, there's nothing criminal that you guys can see about it.
It does not, no. And when looking, if this is the case, and we believe it is, then obviously there's no intent. I would assume there's no intent by that individual, but it is something we want to have a conversation with them. One, to ensure that they're using proper safety when firing their weapons on their range. And we do. We have, I've been to a number of locations in our township where the calls have come in about shooting, and we've gone and they've allowed us to walk to the back portion of the property. And there are some that range backdrops that are very well done. And in terms of a large dirt mound in front of that is railroad ties. And it's high. You know, I mean, it needs to be a minimum of 6 foot high for home range. Much higher for that for, you know, open public range, but that would be the minimum. And I have seen some really nice backdrops and seen some that are a little questionable. And again, we just encourage people. We give them our thoughts. We don't dictate to them what they can do, but we certainly give them our thoughts on how to create that mound and make it higher and make it more safe.
Anything else we didn't ask, Chief, that you want to mention here?
Nope. I appreciate the opportunity to at least have a conversation with our public about safety.
Very good. Like your website, like if people want to see range safety, do you guys have tips?
You know, we talked about that quite frankly at just last evening's trustee meeting. So I'll put together something and put it on the township's website. We even went so far as to discuss the possibility of maybe holding a session on a Saturday morning for our residents if they wanted to come out, kind of do a PowerPoint presentation, just to talk about what we recommend in terms of a backdrop. You know, you hope gun safety. I mean, ODNR puts out obviously around this time of year a lot of classes for hunting, especially young people for hunting they're required to take certain classes. But so that's something that we talked about at last evening's trustee meeting.
And then without getting too into the weeds legally, essentially in Ohio, in a township, you're okay to shoot on your property.
Correct. Yeah. The Ohio Revised Code 1533.85 gives the individuals those privileges. Yeah.
Within a township.
Yeah, I mean there is some restriction. Obviously, our tight neighborhoods such as Cable's Mill would not be permitted. That's a typical neighborhood you'd find in a city, you know. So obviously there would not be permitted, but and there's some avenues that we could do to address that. But yeah, if you've got several acres of land, absolutely.
But in general, in a township, you're not going to get dinged criminally for just having a range in here.
No,
I know
but-
it's different in the city, you know, if you're in Dayton or Centerville or somewhere like that.
No, but in all honesty, if we were to come across the individual that did it, I would certainly sit down with the prosecutor's office, and just to make sure that, we're on solid grounds. You know, I mean, that's something we would do, but my thought is if it's right now, the way it's leaning is, it's probably not an intentional act,
Yeah.
you know.
So right now, not criminal, but if you guys were to find this person, you would just totally make sure you're squared away.
Yeah, I'd-
Have a conversation with
Yes.
Stephen Heller's office.
Yes.
Or whoever it is.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. All right?